This lesson, we are going to cover how to connect the OpenAI API key to the platform to actually get that large language model functionality that you are looking for. And we're going to cover a little bit of Playground, which is where you're really going to be focused on the prompt engineering side of any AI platform and generating the perfect prompts and really playing around with the different systems as well as the message configurations to get the best possible output from ChatGPT, which will reflect, greatly upon whatever application you might be building. So the first thing I'm going to show you is where to store your API key within Bubble. And so right now we are on the Bubble dashboard here. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to plugins. You'll see API connector here. This is the Bubble API connector. Click on that. And if you have the template, all of this will be pre-configured for the most part for you. The only thing you'll need to change is your API key. So right here, we've got OpenAI. We're going to go ahead and expand this, and you will see your different keys and values here. These are musts for your application, which I'll jump into here in a second. But this right here is your OpenAI API key. Now, the thing to keep in mind is you are going to need that bare space, one space in between it, and then your API key, or it will not work. But as you can see, if you purchase a template, everything is already pre-configured for you for the most part. And we'll jump into exactly how we're editing the prompts to get the correct output for our tools here in the future. But I want to show you where this information is and where your API key is. So if we jump into OpenAI, you're going to want to set up an account, attach your billing information using the API. They will charge you per token usage, but for just ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, it is fairly cheap. When you get into the GPT-4 model, it is slightly more expensive, but you will need to do this. This is a must. That way, your API key is linked to your software application. And so the first thing we're going to do to find this API key is we're going to go in here to your profile. We're going to click View API Keys. As you guys can see here, we can remove keys, and we can go ahead and add a new key right here. Create new secret key. We'll call it Bubble 2.0. Create link, and go ahead and copy this. So the next thing is I'm going to show you where that, the keys and those values are. So if you click on API reference here and scroll down to chat, which is the model that we're going to be using, we're using chat completions. You'll be able to see right here, content type, application JSON, which is exactly the same. The key is content type, value is application JSON. Then our authorization and bearer in your OpenAI API key. But what we're going to want to do is jump in here and replace this value after bearer and space with our new API key that is linked to our account. Now, as you can see, everything is already pre-configured for chat completions. And if you need any more of a reference, feel free to read through this documentation, especially if you're building an AI software app. This is very important to understand exactly how OpenAI's API works. But everything here is really already ready to go. So what we can do here, just to be able to test to make sure that everything is working properly, is we'll go ahead and change this value here from test to what does hello world mean in development. And this will be our actual prompt that we'll run to just test this call. So we'll scroll down here and click reinitialize call. And you'll see a pop-up display here in a second. There it is. And if we go to show raw data, you'll actually be able to see the response that that ChatGPT gave us, or OpenAI gave us. So hello world is a simple program that is often used as a starting point in software development. It's typically used as an introductory tutorial to teach basic programming concepts and debugging techniques. So it did give us the response that we were looking for. You can see, the model as well as the completion type that we're using, as well as how many tokens were used to generate, the response as well as your initial prompt. So you can go ahead and save that. And then we'll go back here to this value and just make that test again. And you are good to go. So if you actually go ahead and preview your application, we'll go ahead and refresh this because we made some changes. And we click on Amazon product feature. We'll just use, we'll go ahead and use neck massager. Neck massager that feels like real hands and is portable. We'll go ahead and click, we want 2 generations. Go ahead and create just to make sure that everything is working with our API key. We know that our API key is working and is connected to our platform. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. Now that our API key is connected, let's go ahead and jump into Playground. So on OpenAI, we've got Playground right here. And this is where you'll be really testing your different prompts and the responses that you get from these prompts. So, for example, for our homework writing assistant, basically, we could create a system prompt here. So I didn't explain this, but the first thing we're going to do is go into mode because we are using the chat model. We're going to go ahead and click on that. We're using GPT 3.5 Turbo. Now, there are a lot of YouTube tutorials working inside of Playground. So if you want a more in-depth tutorial, there are tons of videos on this. But for this example, we will give a system a prompt so it knows exactly what it is. You are a teacher who is whose role is to assist students with their homework assignments, specifically writing an essay. Your tone is casual. And honestly, that's good enough for right now, just for this example. Write me an essay on the future of AI and the impact it could have on society, both pros and cons. This essay should be roughly 200 words in. And we'll go ahead and extend this maximum length. Not that we'll need that many tokens, but we can go ahead and test this prompt. So here it is, writing out our entire article. And if we don't like that output, we can go ahead and make adjustments to the system prompts, retest, or the actual user prompt itself, which in Bubble, this will actually be dynamic, meaning that obviously the user can change and make adjustments to that prompt framework solely by inputting whatever they do within those tools. So, for example, these inputs for product name and product description will actually be dynamically included into that overarching prompt that you generate for your application. So it's just something to keep in mind. Feel free to play around with some of the tools, but that is how you install your OpenAI API key into the application.